We're staying local today. We're here at Titchmarsh Nature Reserve. It's our first visit for 2019, and I really can't believe we haven't been here since December 2018. We head out on our usual clockwise route around the reserve, passing Harper's Brook. And the first bird life of the day is this female mandarin duck. Not a native species, but also not a species we see in the wild very often. We move on, and 20 minutes spent in the North Hide reveals grey heron, little egret, and a rather scattered flock of grey legs. And also out there, as expected, common tern, great crested grebe. And in the reeds at the edge of the water I can hear sedge and reed warbler, but neither are showing. When we arrived at the reserve it was humid with low cloud, which are now starting to break up and blue sky is appearing. The path on this part of the reserve follows the River Nen, and at the river's edge there are clumps of Himalayan balsam, an invasive species that can spread quite rapidly, but is attractive to bees. The river path is edged by a narrow strip of established woodland, and the trees still ring with the sound of birdsong. We can hear wren and song thrush. This stretch of the reserve is good for dragonflies, but they seem a little scarce this morning. But ironically, here's a male scarce chaser, distinguishable from the male black-tailed skimmer by the blue eyes and the dark mark halfway down its abdomen. We move on and spend 20 minutes enjoying the peace and tranquility of the heronry hide. We watch the ripples on the water made by fish just under the surface. In the past we've seen kingfisher and otter from this hide, but today it's only mute swan and moorhen. We continue on our clockwise route around the reserve, taking the river path, taking time to watch the several pleasure craft that use the river. To our right we hear the thin twittering call of goldfinch, and then the raspy chatter of this sedge warbler as it emerges from the bush to scold us for being too close to its nest, as they do nest in bushes and thickets as well as reeds and sedges. Sedge warblers currently have a green status with the RSPB and can be seen in the UK between April and October. We reach the South Hide to be greeted by this female tufted duck and her brood, and at last a butterfly. I think it's a green vein white. And we can hear reed warblers in the reed bed, but once again, they're not showing. But what is showing well is the normally secretive wren. This bird maybe has a nest hidden deep in the brambles. We were just leaving the South Hide when a green woodpecker announces its arrival, and indeed, there it is, in the top of the tree. Certainly the best film I've shot of this bird in a long time. The day grows warmer and the humidity increases, but is thankfully offset by a cooling breeze blowing across the fishery lake. And here is a whitethroat with a beakful of insects, and also by the look of it, an arachnid. I can see the long body of a damselfly and what looks like maybe a garden cross spider, both on the menu for a nestful of hungry chicks hidden somewhere deep in the bushes. The bird disappears into the undergrowth and then re-emerges, this time with an empty beak. We move on and two more species of butterfly are added to our list, this red admiral and a small tortoiseshell. And then our circuit of Titchmarsh LNR is complete, and our final bird of the day is this reed bunting. And I'll see you next time.